Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this. I am the CHALL, and today, Chall Chats, Switzerland 2, Italy 0 in the first of our round of 16 matches in the UEFA Euro 2024 competition this evening. We do have a separate review coming from Germany-Denmark, which will come tonight, so stay tuned for that one. But this is focused on Switzerland's dominance of the holders, Italy. We will crown a brand new European champion after the demise of Italy in this match. We're going to go into detail about this match. We're going to talk about each individual team, pick out a star player or a star factor in their win/or loss, and also sort of talk about what happens next. So we're going to talk about Switzerland's preparations for the quarterfinals, and as well as Italy's preparations for the next major competition, which will be the World Cup. Before we get started, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss another YouTube video. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers and 500,000 views. Let's get there as soon as possible, please. And for now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get straight into this as Switzerland beat Italy by 2-0. So let's first of all talk about your starting 11 lineups. So starting off with Italy, they've gone with a back three with a 3-4-2-1 formation, and it goes like this. Jan Sommer in goal with a back three consisting of Fabian Schär, Manuel Akanji and Ricardo Rodriguez. I'll talk about that when I come to Switzerland, trust me. The wing-back roles, you've got Mikel Abishaya on the right, and on the left, you've got Fabian Rieder. In the midfield, you've got Rebo Frulia and Granit Xhaka. I'll talk about him in a moment. In the attacking midfield, Ruben Vargas and Dan Ndoye. I will talk about them in a moment. And up front is Breel Embolo. And Bolo is a very fascinating and inspirational story, succumbing loads of injury problems, succumbing over loads of issues, and he's here at the Euros and is on show for everyone to see. The Italia lineup looks like this, with Gianluigi Donnarumma in goal, a back four from right to left consisting of Giovanni Di Lorenzo, Alessandro Bastoni, Gianluca Mancini, and Matteo Darmian, a midfield of Nicolo Fagioli, Nicolo Barella, and Brian Cristante. And of course, on the wings, right and left, respectively, Federico Chiesa and Stefan Al-Shaarawy. Up front on his own, Gianluca Scamacca. So we're going to first talk about Switzerland because they're the winners, obviously. Switzerland, wow. They were just unsurpassable in that game. They were fluent, they were aggressive, they were on the front foot, they were always on the edge. They had this edge over Italy. You could see it from minute one with Switzerland. They wanted it more. They had this press about them. As soon as Italy get any sniff of the ball, Switzerland are on them like a magnet. Front foot, lightning fast, pressing them at every opportunity, forcing Italy into back corners. And you could just see what was happening with them. We are going to pick out my star player of the match from the Switzerland side. There'll be at least one, potentially two star players per review with this kind of format. But there's only one star player that I'm going to pick out today, which I'll talk about later. But let's talk about some of the other players that shone for Switzerland today. Granit Xhaka. Now, I want to speak about Granit Xhaka because, ain't it a coincidence, since he's left Arsenal, he's got out of a comfort zone and he started winning trophies and competing in good squads? No coincidence, is it? As soon as Granit Xhaka leaves that Arsenal midfield, look how much he develops as a player. He becomes a much better player in the Leverkusen setup, in a near-invincible treble campaign. He becomes a sensational part of the Switzerland squad. He's playing, in my opinion, this is the best I've seen Granit Xhaka in a Switzerland shirt. There's been other times where he's kind of lacked at times, but this is the best period of time for Granit Xhaka in a Switzerland shirt. His club form will have something to do with it. The way he has the energy to make those forward and backward runs, the way he has the knack and the tenacity and the physicality to win the ball back, the way he makes things tick in the midfield, and the way he continues to make the cogs go in the machine known as Switzerland national football, and the way he manoeuvres about the middle of the park, the way he manoeuvres around the Italian possession and just tries to win that ball back with such real physicality and aggression. The way he works with Frulia. There was one miscommunication in the second half where a ball was coming through towards Ndoye on the wing. We'll talk about him in a minute. And I think Frula just kind of knocks it off, and I think it was Xhaka who made that pass, or it might have been someone else. And there was a moment there where that was probably one of the only kind of interruptions of Switzerland's possession and build-up play. Beside that moment, Xhaka for me was instrumental, and he was a massive part of their build-up play. Speaking about the build-up play, Switzerland were fluent, they were aggressive, they were creative, they were pressing, they were on the front foot, never gave Italy a second to breathe. And there's another couple of players that were a part of that. I do think that, first of all, at the back, we just talk about defensively here for Switzerland because, yes, they didn't have a lot to deal with, but the comfortability, and in commentary they said this, the comfortability of both Fabian Schär and Manuel Akanji was spot on. They looked like they'd known each other for 80 years. They looked like they've just been hanging out with each other for about 70, 80 years on the beaches, just being best of friends for well over 5, 6, 7 decades. It's like they knew each other like the palm of the back of their hand. They were so comfortable and in sync with each other. The communication between the both of them was spot on. You add to that Ricardo Rodriguez, who's a long shot specialist, who's got the power, directness, pace, and energy in the left centre back role, to almost like a wide centre back at times, to step in and cover that left wing back role if they do decide to go more further forward at times. They had this communication that was just perfection. Now, Ruben Vargas comes into the side and steps in big time. I can't remember who got man of the match. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was Ruben Vargas. He had the energy, he had the pace, he had the directness, he had the fluidity about him, and he was getting involved. And he scored. He got involved in the goal scoring. He was involved in practically both goals, pretty much. He assisted Remo Freuler on the first goal, and of course he scored the second one 30 seconds into the second half. I mean, Italy were just stood still, frozen solid, like they've been stuck in a fridge for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It was just, they were stood still while Switzerland just found the beautiful shot at the start of the second half from Ruben Vargas. Now, there is one particular player who, in my opinion, will go under the radar, but should be noted for his world-class performance, and that is Dan Ndoye. Dan Ndoye from Bologna in the Serie A, 23 years old. My God, is he a player to keep an eye on. Tricky, pacey, direct attacking talent. He seriously impressed me today. His endurance, the way he demonstrates his tracking ability, his positional awareness, his confidence to have a go at goal at times, the way he tracks back to win that ball back with such aggressive pressing, and the way he maneuvers about, behind from attack to defence and force the turnovers, or helps to force a turnover in play. The way he just exemplifies attacking talent and creative innovation from defence to attack, attack to defence. The way he covers the majority of that left-hand side from back to front, and the way he just exuberates that pace. I mean, he was probably my understudy of the match. He was my kind of understudy for man of the match. He was just exuberant. And you see with some of the stats that come out of that game. You look at some of the stats that come out of that game with Dan Ndoye. You look at some of the things that came out with. He played 76 minutes, by the way. 96% accurate passes. 96. 47 touches on the ball. He won 5 of his 8 ground duels. I mean, he had 2 shots off target, which were both blocked. 1 out of 2 successful dribble attempts. I mean, statistically, you're seeing that he just shone. He was brilliant today. And again, I'll just say this again. I just think Dan Ndoye is my understudy for man of the match. I think it was the most improving and the most out there player. And just for me, I just feel like he deserves his flowers. Dan Ndoye was superstar quality today. Now we flip to the other side of the coin, which is Italy, the defending European champions. And my word, you know what? Italians are known for their brutal honesty, not beating around the bush, looking to improve the standards. So I'm going to match the mindset of the Italians. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to hold back. Italy were embarrassing. And I mean, no disrespect to the people on the Italian Football Federation. I mean, no disrespect to the players or the manager, but that performance was embarrassing. I think Barella getting that knock in the first half really didn't help matters. But before that, did they do much before that? Not really. Di Lorenzo getting a little knock before the end of the first half as well. That didn't help matters regardless. And then in the second half, they brought another striker on. And again, they just barely found a chance. Part of it was down to Switzerland's knack for aggressive pressing in and out of possession. But part of it was down to Italy's ability to just stand still. They were very stagnant. Part of it was because they couldn't find a route through. But part of it was because it was very sideways. Nothing about Italy's play excited me today. I think I saw a few tweets at half time from England fans saying they made England look good. And trust me, we'll get on to England tomorrow, depending on how that performance goes tomorrow. And by the way, the winner of this game plays England. So if I was England, no disrespect to Gareth Southgate, I'd be panicking. I'd be looking at Switzerland saying, oh boy, we're going to step it up. But Italy were just at a standstill today. Italy felt very stagnant. They felt very non-existent in terms of their attacking sense. They had moments where they could build up the play, but again, nothing really came off. And there were moments in that first half, going into the second half, where they played constant long balls that didn't work. And they said it in commentary. I said it as well. It felt like the long balls they tried to put over the top were just ricocheting, shout out to Ricochet, back the other way. And it was just turning defence, it was turning their attack into Switzerland's attack. It was just from attack to defence. It was literally just a constant ricochet of turnovers for the Swiss to pounce on and create chances from. It was not working. You bring in a second striker in the second half, and again, it did not work. The chances were far and far between, and Italy had to take a serious look at themselves. In the midfield today, the constant pressure they were under and the wayward passes today, the link-up play was, again, like the attacking sense, non-existent. There was some good link-ups, but it didn't really come to anything. There was no real big chances for Italy in that game. It just felt very pedestrian by Italy. It was very pedestrian. This might be harsh to say, but they didn't deserve to keep their title after that performance. So there might be a sense of they deserve to get knocked out. And to be fair, if you keep playing the ball sideways and trying to look for long balls when they keep not working and keep ricocheting back into Switzerland attacks, at the end of the day, you don't deserve to be champions. You don't deserve to keep your trophy. You don't deserve to be the rightful champions that defend their crown. You don't deserve to stay in the tournament. Italy were link-up play without a purpose, and they just couldn't find a focal attacking outlet to put their long balls to. I mean, there was a slice of fortune when Charles' deflected header hit the post in the second half that could have been something on the end of it. There was a couple of balls into the box where someone could have got on the end of it. But again, I think the best chance Italy got was when one of the players went off the shoulder of the last defender. I think he was just offside and he hit the post. That was probably the only good chance they had, but I think it would have been offside anyway. I don't think Italy had a real clear-cut opportunity today at all. You can see by the graphic on your screen, the darkest blue is the highest concentration of play, the lightest blue is the lowest concentration of play, which is where the focus of the players is based. And you see some of the stats there according to SofaScore. Massive shout out to you. One big chance scored, one big chance missed for Switzerland. For Italy, one big chance missed, none scored. 2 through balls to 0 in favour of Switzerland, and Italy had half the touches in the penalty area that Switzerland had. I mean, the stats say it all in terms of the concentration of play and where the attacking scenarios are. Italy were woeful, they were fruitless, and when it comes to what comes next, it's going to be interesting from an Italian perspective. So, what does come next? Well, the story is simple. Italy have to take a serious look in the mirror. They have to you have to answer the question, is Spalletti the man to take them forward to try and win the World Cup or to try and progress in the World Cup as much as they can? If not, when do they make that decision to let him go? It's very up in the air at the minute. It is embarrassing from an Italian perspective with some of the players they've got in that squad to be knocked out in the round of 16. They didn't even give themselves a chance. They didn't deserve to go through, and they need to seriously look in the mirror. Is that down to certain players? Yes. Is it down to the manager's tactics? Partly. How much is on the manager, responsibility-wise? Is Spalletti the right man to take them forward? The Football Federation of Italia need to decide that and soon to give themselves the biggest possible build-up time and practice time ready for the World Cup. And Italy need as much time as they need to prepare for the World Cup because they are nowhere near ready for the World Cup. They need to seriously take a long, hard look in the mirror after that performance. Switzerland, on the other hand, they're going to get ready for a quarterfinal against either England or Slovakia. And I say either because anything can happen with England. So, but all being serious, I tell you what, Gareth South, I know it's not an England video or anything like that, but Gareth Southgate and those players need to seriously take this seriously tomorrow and seriously look at going for it. I don't like talking about England when it comes to other countries' games, but I'll just say it straight off the bat for those of you who didn't know already. Put Bellingham and Rice next to each other, put Foden in the 10, put Cole Palmer on the right and Gordon off the left or Saka off the left, and just do that. Because if you play the same way you did against Serbia, Denmark, Slovenia, they're going to get pummeled by Switzerland, and that is no mean. That is, I don't take any pleasure in saying that as an England supporter, but Switzerland right now are just, their football today will tear England apart. They will tear England apart if they do not come out with the right mentality in that game. If England go through, same with Slovenia. To be fair, if Slovenia get through England, which will be embarrassing from a Southgate perspective, and Southgate should consider his future definitely after that. Slovenia go through tomorrow. Again, they're a well-structured, frustrating team. They could frustrate Switzerland's press. So they could actually, this might be a controversial claim, but I actually think Slovenia could be better prepared to frustrate Switzerland more than England. I'll be brutally honest here. So Switzerland go through, Italy lose the title, they're out, and the winner of that game, Switzerland, will play either England or Slovakia. So, thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. And for now, I'm the CHALL. Ta-ra for now. That's full time. Mean that bash to you.